Kind of talk about, I know the last couple of years you played Auburn, otherwise you mentioned your annual contest with South Carolina. How about playing those SEC schools and then being in a tough conference like the ACC? Like, how much does that help your guys, get ready for the conference when you play a team like Auburn early in the year like that?
Well, I mean, I think our guys, they get excited to play every week, but anytime you have a team that's nationally recognized as one of the better teams in the country, it's a big challenge for you. It's exciting for our fan base, and that's why we've scheduled those games. That's what the flexibility. You had that flexibility with the 8-game conference deal. You lose that with the 9 conference games, but it's been a good run. I can't seem to get rid of Auburn. They keep showing back up, but this will be a big rubber match for us. We've had 2 barn burners the last couple of years, and then we'll pick up Georgia for the next 2 years, which is really great for college football and great for, I think, both fan bases. I mean, I'm not excited to go play Georgia. I mean, they got a great program, and vice versa. But it's just it'll be a fun game for everybody involved.
Coach, I know last year Clemson struggled with gap control and tackling, and you mentioned your young sophomore field defensive line. How do you go about changing the gap control and the tackling and your practice habits to have better performance up front?
Well, I think it starts with just making sure we got everybody where they're supposed to be and that they really understand what they're doing, and that goes back to just philosophy, and we've simplified some things because we are going to be young, so we've tried to simplify a little bit so that we can free our guys up a little bit more mentally so that they can play and just execute what we're the base task of what we're asking them to do, as opposed to as many checks and things like that. So just simplifying some other tweaks within the system on that side of the ball. You'll see a little bit more zone principles mixed in, and hopefully those will be some key things that'll help us. And then a lot of those guys, a year older, a year wiser. A lot of guys played for the first time last year, and so even though some of them didn't play a lot, they did play a little bit, and that experience, and just being a year older and more mature, I think will help us, be a little better. Go ahead.
The 11 seniors are going to have to rely on some younger guys as leaders. Who are some of those juniors, sophomores, or maybe freshmen to be in those roles?
Well, that's something we've worked hard on because of that fact. In fact, I had the 11 seniors elect a couple of juniors, a couple of sophomores to come and be a part of our leadership meeting because we're going to have some guys, Sammy Watkins, those type guys, Stephon Anthony's, step up and be leaders. Brandon Thomas is a guy that's really doing a great job of leading from that junior group. But all 11 of those seniors are good players, good people, and I think have the ability to lead. But that young group, we'll see where some of those. I think we've got a freshman like Travis Blanks, that has a chance to really be a leader at an early stage in his career and impact some of those other freshmen. I've already seen that, and that's the benefit of having a guy like that be able to come in early. But Sammy Watkins and DJ Howard, Stephon Anthony's, those guys, Grady Jarrett, Sean Williams, those are some guys that have jumped out at me in trying to be leaders at an early age here.
How have you seen Coach Morris, Coach Venables' addition improve your recruiting? I mean, have you noticed them maybe with their styles and schemes attracting a higher caliber of players than you were getting, perhaps, or how they expect?
Well, I just think we have a great staff. I mean, we have a great staff from a recruiting standpoint. Everybody works together. We're very well organized. We're very efficient. We have good processes in place, and that's really helped us, to do a good job. And then, more importantly, we have a great product at Clemson, and we know Clemson. And obviously, when people come in, it's what do you do on offense and defense? All that's certainly a factor, but the best part of Clemson and the biggest reason we recruit well are our players. Simple as that. Our players are our greatest asset, and they're also our best recruiters, because when people come on our campus, they just do a fantastic job of selling Clemson for us, and I think that's because they're happy, and we're tough on them, and we challenge them, and there's a lot of discipline. And but at the end of the day, they know that we care about them, and they understand what our plan and vision is, and why we try to do things the way we do them, and that we're a little different. And I think that kind of transfers to the prospects and their families when they come on our campus. You can't fabricate that. It's either real or it's not.
Coach, kind of talking, I know you had a young team in a lot of positions last year. You had Sammy and guys like that came out and contributed right away. But with the year you had last year, with a young team, you go ups and downs. Lost to South Carolina, won the conference, lost the bowl game. What is that roller coaster kind of like for a coach? You have big wins, but then losses that you'd love to have. And what are you looking for different this year, maybe from those young guys to step up and win some of those games like South Carolina?
Well, that's football, and unless you win them all, it's an emotional roller coaster. It doesn't matter what level it is. So you've got to always be able to turn the page and handle adversity, handle success. And I said that to our team last year before the season. My opening night statement to them was, listen, we're going to have a lot of success this year, and we've handled adversity well. The bigger challenge is how you handle success, and we just did an okay job, not great, not terrible, just okay. And so hopefully those guys have grown from that experience. We had 42 freshmen on the roster, 29 of them played, and so just a lot of. With that will come a little inconsistency at times, but at the end of the day, I'm very proud of that football team. They've won a championship, and I don't know how you measure a program other than championships. They're not easy to get. If they were, we'd have more than one in 20 years. I can tell you that.
Was it difficult to turn the page after the bowl game?
Nope.
Is that when it's hard?
I mean, it was hard for a couple of days as far as just. Having to get back at it. But once we got recruiting over, because quickly you go right into recruiting, and then once we have signing day, we get back with our players, and then we're back on the field, and it's a whole new team and new group of leaders and so forth. Then you get into spring practice, and that's what everybody's focused on. Not focused on anything. You get in your car to drive. There's a big windshield. Because it's much more important what's in front of you than that little mirror that's showing what's behind you. So that's kind of the mentality of our team.
You mentioned expanding the leadership meetings and making sure the juniors and sophomores were included. Was that choice, was that to include specific players? Did you see specific players that you felt necessitated that change, or was that just an overall philosophy that you felt like you needed to get some younger guys in that room?
No, it's just something I believe in, but I let them, and I've always, since I've been the head coach, I've always really, I love the seniors. I've always been passionate about the senior class, and I've always let them select a guy or two to come in. But this year I let them pick a few more because, again, we're small in numbers. But it's totally up to them. I don't make that decision. They know who the leaders on the team are, and they know who cuts corners and who doesn't. So it's interesting for me to see. Okay, they do it. Here's the guys they want to select. Here's the sophomores. And then I just run the meetings, but they decide who's in there.
When you talk about your aspirations and goals that you want to, do you now have all the tools you need to achieve that? You've basically given virtually everything you've asked for.
Sure, absolutely. I think that we are, again, on the verge of great things. I said that last year. I felt that last year. You play a little better in a couple of spots, anything can happen. You got to have a little luck along the way with injuries and stuff like that. That's always a big part of any great season. And we were pretty fortunate last year for the most part. You never know from year to year. But I don't think there's any question we have laid a great foundation in 3 years. From a staff standpoint, recruiting, facilities, just modernizing our program, so to speak.